Welcome, friend, to Sleep West. Before you scroll, this story may not be in your books, but it should be in your memory. Yuma Territorial Prison, Arizona, 1887. A furnace by day, a grave by night, and outside its rusted gate stood a boy, no older than 21, his boots cracked, his shirt sun-bleached, and his eyes clear, sharp, not afraid. They said he stole silver. They said he lied, but no one asked him. They just locked the door and walked away. They threw him in cell 13, no window, one crack in the wall. Days turned to weeks, weeks turned to silence, but the boy didn't break. Every night, when the guards were gone and the wind howled like ghosts, he dug, one scoop at a time, with a broken spoon they forgot to take. Not with anger, not with hate, with patience, because hope was louder than the walls. He was in cell 13, a box of sandstone and iron barely wide enough to lie flat. No window, one crack in the wall, 13 steps from the gate, but miles from hope. No trial, no visitors, just the sound of dry wind and boots passing by. But Will didn't cry. He watched. He waited. And each night when the lanterns dimmed, he dug, with a broken spoon under a loose stone no one ever noticed, one scoop at a time, one dream deeper. The desert doesn't give rain, not here, not often, but that day, the clouds rolled in, low, heavy, and cruel. Guards laughed, prisoners cheered, and Will, he just stood in cell 13, hands folded, eyes calm. He knew. Water trickled down the stone wall, then into the floorboards, and somewhere beneath the dirt, the ground shifted. The hole, the one no one ever saw, collapsed inward, a passage now wide enough to crawl through. That night, the storm didn't stop. The desert sky split open like a wound. Thunder rolled through Yuma like the drums of war, but deep below cell 13, one man crawled through the earth, hands bleeding, breath short. The tunnel was barely wide enough, just dirt, stone, silence, until a crack of fresh air. Will pushed the last of the mud aside, and for the first time in 2 years, he stood under open sky, the prison behind him, the world ahead, and the storm still whispering above, "Run." The storm passed, but Will didn't stop running. By sundown, his legs buckled in the sand, exhausted, half-starved, alone, until he saw it, a single campfire flickering in the canyon ahead. He crept closer. A man sat by the flames, face in shadow, just waiting. "Didn't think you'd make it," the stranger said, voice dry as gravel. Will froze. "Who are you?" The man didn't answer, just tossed something into the dirt beside the fire. A silver coin, the same kind that vanished with the payroll, the same kind that sent Will to prison. The man smiled. "You were never the thief." Will's breath caught. Then who was? Pause. Only crackling fire. That's what you'll have to find out. Will didn't sleep that night, not because he couldn't, but because the stranger wouldn't stop talking. Names, places, secrets, a judge, a deputy, a banker, men who knew Will was innocent, but stayed silent, or worse, helped bury the truth. "Why are you telling me this?" Will asked. The stranger leaned forward, firelight in his eyes. "Because you're free now, and they still sleep easy." He handed Will a torn scrap of leather, 6 names, all written in the same shaky hand. "Start with the one in Red Rock," he said. "He never forgets a face." Will stared at the list, his fingers trembling, not with fear, with purpose. It wasn't just about freedom anymore, it was about truth, and it was about time. The town of Red Rock wasn't red, it was dust, the kind that coated your tongue and buried the truth. Will walked in slow, his boots louder than his breath, hat pulled low, but not low enough to hide what he came for, just the weight of justice in his steps. He found the man behind the saloon, greasy, pale, eyes twitching like he hadn't slept in years. Jeb Cartwright, former deputy and the first name on the list. Will didn't pull his gun. He didn't need to. "You remember me," Will said. Jeb's lip trembled. "I just followed orders." "You buried a kid," Will replied. A long silence. Then, Jeb dropped to his knees. "I'll sign the statement," he begged. Will leaned in. "You'll live with it," he whispered. "But you'll write the truth." That night, Will left Red Rock with a signed confession and a storm rolling in behind him. The next name wasn't hiding in shadows. He ran the town bank, wore gold on his fingers, and guilt in his gut. Marshall Everett Boone, the man who signed Will's sentence, who called him guilty without a trial. Will didn't kick the door open. He walked through it. Inside, polished wood, ticking clock, tin badge on the desk. Boone didn't look up. "I figured it'd be you." Will stepped forward, laid the signed confession from Jeb Cartwright on the desk. "This is your last chance," he said. Boone looked at the paper, then at Will. "You think truth fixes everything?" he asked. Will nodded. Boone laughed. "Truth is a mirror, and you're the one who cracked it." A pause, then Boone picked up the pen. "For what it's worth," he said, signing his name, "I never thought you'd survive." The desert hadn't changed, still dry, still quiet, but Will had. He rode alone. The same road that once took him in chains now carried him in silence. In his pocket, 2 signed confessions, a worn silver coin, and a name that no longer meant outlaw. As Yuma's gates came into view, he didn't slow down. He stopped at the sheriff's office, walked in, dropped the papers. "They were wrong," he said, "and you know it." The sheriff didn't argue. He just stood and nodded. "Took you long enough," he said. Will smiled. I had to dig my way back.
The desert hadn't changed, still dry, still quiet, but Will had. He rode alone. The same road that once took him in chains now carried him in silence. In his pocket, 2 signed confessions, a worn silver coin, and a name that no longer meant outlaw. The gates creaked open, not for a prisoner this time, but for a man who walked free. No chains, no guards, just Will. And the story carved into every step. Inside, the warden looked up. Same office, same stone walls. But something was different now. You came back, he said. Will nodded. Had to. Left something in that cell. He walked down the corridor, past locked doors and forgotten screams, until he stood at cell 13. The door was open. Sunlight poured in, and inside, on the dusty floor, a crack in the wall, still holding a spoon.
He didn't look back, not once. The sun had shifted, lower now, warmer, like even the sky was softer. Will stepped past the outer wall. Each boot print in the dirt felt lighter, not because the weight was gone, but because he had carried it and survived. A coin in his pocket, a name cleared, a past faced. He passed the wooden sign, Yuma Territorial Prison, and kept walking toward the horizon, toward something new. A man who had been buried, but not broken. A whisper in the wind followed him. You're the one with the story now. And Will? He didn't answer. He just walked on as the screen faded to dust. They never found the man who helped him out. Some say he died in that prison years ago. Others say he's still out there, waiting to help the next soul dig their way free. And if you're still listening, you've now heard a tale the desert never forgot. If stories like this help you rest, click subscribe. It's free, and you'll be back before the wind changes. Sleep well, traveler, and we'll meet again on the next Western Trail.